Hello, my name is Shayna Francis Yambun and my matrix number is 2022847476, and I'll be doing our introduction for our group assignment. Firstly, transportation has helped us to get to our designated location easier. This has been a widespread amongst people from buses to cars. There are multiple e-hailing platforms for people who don't have their own cars or need a ride ASAP to their desired locations such as Grab, Uber, Maxim, and many more. For problems, most students nowadays have been going through a lot of pressure about transportation. We hear all types of problems from students, such as not having a transportation to class to the point where they are unable to come to class and being in a financially tight situation. Transportation seems to be one of the big financial problems a student could get, such as not every student has the free will or money to have their own car, let alone license. We then decide to research on transportation use amongst UITM students. Online and face-to-face research was involved with the residential students of University Technology Mara as well as non-residential students. We gave questions related to the transportation use among students. This is to find out how and what type of transportation used by students of UITM. We then collected 26 survey applications and 24 face-to-face applications. We do this study by doing the sampling technique, data collection method, type of variable in table form, qualitative data, and quantitative data. For our objectives, we have 4, which is to observe the spending of UITM students on transportation to find the most less money consuming transportation students use, to identify the type of transportation used by UITM students, to identify the reason of preferably choosing transportation by UITM students, and to identify the cost of transportation usage when UITM students are going to campus on a weekly average.
Hello, my name is Eunice Genius. My matrix number is 2022625418, and I will be talking about sampling techniques. Okay, so first I will tell you the meaning of sampling. Sampling is a scientific process of selecting a sample from its population in a way that the selected respondents are representatives of a population under a study. So our population is all students from UITM Kota Kinabalu campus. Our sampling frame is obtained by the students from the Faculty of Business and Management, Faculty of Administrative Science, Diploma of Tourism Management, and Diploma of Accounting. The sample is 50 students from UITM Kota Kinabalu, from the Faculty of Business and Management, Faculty of Administrative Science, Diploma of Tourism Management, and Diploma of Accounting. The sampling technique that we use is simple random sampling technique. From the population, we have randomly selected 50 students to question. Every student has an equal chance of being selected, and this is to ensure that the results of the sample will be equivalent to what would have been collected by measuring the whole population.
Hi, my name is Megan. Next is about data collection method. So the data collection method that we used was the face-to-face interview and also other method which is through Google Form, where students or respondent will receive a link to answer the survey. So these were the students who offered to interview with us face-to-face. These are the example of Google Form survey where students or respondent will receive a link and answer this questionnaire. Next is data analysis and results. So for question 1, as you can see on the left hand side is the pie chart. So the pie chart visualizes the student based on their gender. The percentages of gender indicates 2 categories, which are male and females. The total respondent is 50 students. So based on the diagram, most of the respondent was the female, which consists of 64% represented 32 numbers of female students. However, the male is the least respondent to our survey, with a total of 36%, which represented 18 numbers of male students. To conclude, there are 32 female and 18 males from UITM students answered the questionnaire.
Question 2 is the frequency of respondents based on their age. Based on the pie chart, 72% of respondents are 18 to 19 years old, 22% of the respondents are 20 to 21 years old, and 6% of the respondents are 22 to 23 years old. We also found the mean, median, and mod. The mean is 19.18, the median is 16.9, and the mod is 20.7.
For question 3, this is the frequency of students based on their status of resident. So out of 50 respondents, there are 44% of students who lives in College Mantanani, and there are 22% of students who lives in College Mandukan. Next, there are 30% of students who are non-resident who lives outside the campus. And lastly, there are 4% who lives in College Mabul. Next is question 4. So the pie chart shows that there are a total of 100%, which all 50 respondents is full-time student, and none of our respondent is a part-time student. Next is question 5. So from the bar chart, we can see that out of 50 respondents, there are 49 of them are not working, and one of them is part-time.
Okay, so for part B, first we have all give. So the first thing we need to have is the all give table, the cumulative frequency distribution table based on expenses per semester. There is less than upper boundary, cumulative frequency, cumulative relative frequency, and position of data. And next is the all give graph, which shows the relationship between the cumulative frequency and the expenses per semester.
Hello, my name is Kaiselina Moinsen. My matrix number is 202263854, and today I'm going to talk about histogram and polygon table. The usage of polygon table and histogram are used to summarize discrete or continuous data that are measured on an interval level. It is often used to illustrate major features of the distribution of the data in a convenient form. The polygon table contains the frequency, the midpoint, and the class boundaries of the data that is used to make a histogram chart. We can see from the histogram chart that the lines goes from upwards then downwards. The number of students is considered Y, and the class boundary is considered X. Next, we are going to talk about central tendency. Central tendency is the statistical measure that is used as a single value to represent an entire distribution. As we can see from the data that we collected, the mean of the data is 287.19, the median of the data is 252, and the mode is 52,200.
For this question, we will still be using the sample variance formula, which is S2 equals to 1 over n minus 1 total fx squared minus total fx squared over n. The sample variance that we got from this question is 4,123,904.80. And for standard deviation, we are also going to be using the same formula, which is S equals to square root S squared. The standard deviation that we got is 2030.74. Okay, so for shape of distribution, question 2, we'll be using the skewness formula, which is mean minus mode over standard deviation. The skewness that we got is 24.83, which is positive, so the shape of distribution is positively skewed to the right.
For objective 2 is to identify the type of transportation used by UITM students. So out of all respondents, there are 44% of students who frequently uses UITM Sabaria bus to the UITM campus. Next, there are 20% of all respondents uses Maxim or Grab to UITM campus. Moreover, there are 18% of students who own their transportation and uses them to the UITM campus. And lastly, there are also 18% who walks or cycles to their class.
Objective 3, we also identified the preferred transportation used by UITM students. Based on the pie chart given, 32% prefer using public transport because it is cheaper than owning and operating a car. Next, 18% prefer to have their own car, which lets them go to class according to their own schedule and be able to go back immediately without waiting for public transport. After that, 20% prefer UITM bus because it is free, thus making it easier for them to go to class. Next, 12% prefer using public transportation. That gives them a better atmosphere as because they don't have to worry about them driving and be reliant on themselves. Lastly, the remaining 18% prefer other methods to university such as cycling, walking, and etc.
So for this question, we are going to be using the formula above, which is S2 equals to 1 over n minus 1 total fx square minus total fx square over n. So the sample variance that we got from this question is 31,075.25. Okay, for a standard deviation, we're going to be using the formula above too, which is s equals to square root s2. And the standard deviation is 176.28. Okay, so for question 4, we will still be using the skewness formula, which is mean minus mode over standard deviation. The skewness that we got is 0.01, which is positively skewed to the right also.
So lastly, we also did a qualitative data using bar chart to find the frequency of students on how transportation affects them academically. So based on the bar chart, the total of respondents is 50 students. There are a total of 27 students in UITM says that transportation does not affect them academically, which is the highest number compared to the others. Other than that, there are 22 students says that transportation do affect them moderately in academic. Meanwhile, there are only one student who get affected by the transportation most oftenly.
In conclusion, it is shown that students prefer to use public transport because it is more cheaper and more convenient. It is also shown that the majority of students have a negative impact on their academic performance because of transportation. We can handle this situation by raising awareness and making a campaign around the campus to make non-residents have a more free and safe transports.